Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Lulame and this is just a channel where I talk about natural hair, health, and of course thrifting. Today I thought it would be really nice to talk about how to start your dreadlocks. I'm actually just about to hit my 2-year lock anniversary and I just wanted to share how I started my locks and give you guys tips on how you can start your own locks and what to expect along the way. So there are 5 different ways to start off your lock journey if you're thinking about it. I'll start off with the most simple one. The most simple way to start off your locks is to freeform. So freeforming is basically doing absolutely nothing to your hair. You decide you want to start your locks, you throw away your combs and just let nature do what she wants to do. The thing about starting off your locks by freeforming is that you'll get a very specific type of look. And there's no way of predicting what sort of look you'll get. There's no uniformity in your locks. It's basically whatever your hair decides to do. So you might end up with 8 huge locks. You might even end up with 3 locks and like just one skinny strand of hair. It's a very specific look. That's one way to start. It's the most low maintenance way to start your locks. The next way to start off your locks is by comb coils or palm rolling. Here is a piece of hair that I have. It's not actually my hair, it is some hair that I bought for a client because he wants to get permanent lock extensions. So this is just some 100% human hair, afro hair. It's actually really good quality hair. It's nice. I'm thinking, wow, I wish I knew about this when I started my locks. But this guy wants to just have long locks. He doesn't want to go through the short, weird phase. So I'm just going to use this hair to demonstrate. One of the ways is by comb coiling. And I haven't actually comb coiled this hair, but basically you use a comb to do this sort of thing, and then you end up with a coil. Comb coils are actually the most delicate type of locks to start off with because you use the comb to coil up your hair, right? And then you end up with just a big one twist, if that makes sense. You end up with one big one twist. And a lot of the time, if you have short hair, you can very easily disrupt the coil and mess it up if you wash too often or wash too soon. And this method of starting locks is the one that I hold responsible for the misconception that you can't wash your hair when you have locks. Because when you have comb coils, in all honesty, it's not a good idea to shampoo your hair straight away because there's not much holding the lock together. It's just a comb coil. Sometimes people will use wax to hold the lock just a little bit to keep it the way that it is so that it stays long enough to lock. Some people use wax in their hair and it's great. I personally am not a big fan of locks because, of wax, because when you use wax in your hair, it tends to be there for the long haul. You know, and if you think about wax and what it actually is, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of having wax in my hair. It can result in stiffness. It can result in whitish buildup. If your hair is kinky enough to actually just do comb coils and stick, that's awesome. But this is one of the other ways you can start your locks. And people tend to need help with this because it's a comb coil. It's really hard to do comb coils on yourself. So you might have to go to a loctician to get your comb coils started. Method number 3 is braid locks. Here is another piece of hair that I have prepared earlier for you. So braid locks are pretty simple, very self-explanatory. It's just when you braid your hair. Just, you know, your normal 3-strand braid. And this is a really great method to start off micro locks. So there are some people who don't want to have big chunky locks. Perhaps they want to start locks because they've found their own loose natural hair to be really difficult to maintain. It's a lot of work. and there's a lot of shedding as well when you're constantly combing. So they want to have a lower maintenance hairstyle, but they don't want to have the dreadlock look. This is a really great way to start off micro locks, is with braid locks. And I say this because another way to start off micro locks is through sister locks. But man, sister locks seem complicated. I'm not a sister lock practitioner. It costs a lot of money. I've heard of people being charged upwards of $2,000 to get their sister lock started. That is a really big amount of money to spend on starting off your locks. If you want to cheat a little bit, braid your hair. Go get micro braids with your own hair. And then just leave it in. And that'll turn into locks. You'll have teeny tiny locks. You'll have basically the same look, but for a fraction of the price. So I recommend braid locks for starting off tiny locks. Be mindful that it is going to take quite a while for it to actually start looking like locks. The braid pattern will take a while to disappear. Okay, it's not going to be one of those things where you have it for 2 months and then boom, people think you've got locks. And when it comes to braids, because all the hair is inside the braid, it's a smoother look and it's a flatter look. So your hair will look quite flat and thin. It will poof up. And when it poofs up and starts budding, that's when it starts to look like locks. That's when you'll start to get all your body of your semi-loose natural hair, and it will really start to look good. So if you have braid locks, don't be disheartened if after the first 2 months it still looks thin and stringy. You're still looking at it thinking, oh my gosh, like I look like a drowned rat. It's fine, it'll thicken up, okay? One of the main things about locks is just having patience. Throughout this whole journey, I've really had to have patience, even though I cheated at the beginning, and I'll tell you about my cheating in a second. But I did cheat in the beginning, and I still had to be patient. I'm still being patient, and you have to be patient. You just have to be patient. I'm sorry, there's things that can speed it up just a little bit, but at the end of the day, you still have to have some patience. And some people give up when they're so close to getting what they actually wanted to have. The next type of dreadlock or locks is the two-strand twist. So two-strand twist is one that I highly recommend for people that want to start their own locks. If you are wanting to have locks because you're tired of paying a lot of money to get your hair done, all that sort of thing, and you want something that you can easily maintain and begin on your own, two-strand twists is a great way to start. If you know how to two-strand twist, if you know how to section your hair, sectioning is very important. And I recommend, if you are going to section your hair and you're not sure about the size, it's better off to go smaller rather than bigger. Because if you start off small, you can always combine your locks. But if you start off big, there's no way of separating your locks without damaging your hair and losing a lot of hair. All right, so start off smaller if you're in doubt. Two-strand twists are basic. You just do the two-strand twist and you will have this pattern for a while. After the first few washes, it's going to poof up. It's going to poof up. It's going to look messy. They will poof out. That's what's going to happen. If you are doing it by yourself, I recommend you do the two-strand twist for the whole body, and then towards the end, you braid the end. So that this is a plait at the end, right at the bottom, you plait it, and that way, even if it poofs out, it's not going to unravel. Just be patient with the poofy look, rock it, work with it. People are going to look like you've got some really old, tired two-strand twists, but eventually it'll turn into locks. Be patient, all right? And this is actually the method that I used to start my locks, except I had two-strand twist extensions, synthetic extensions, because I didn't want to have the, the starter lock look. It's a tough look to rock. I wasn't prepared for that part of the journey, so I cheated. I had some extensions. My hair was basically this length that it is now when I started off with my little extensions. But my own natural hair was probably about this long. So it was tiny, 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 but I had the extensions and I just wore it for about 8 months. And then eventually I cut off the extension. And this is what my hair looks like now. So because of the way that I retwist my hair, there is some sort of pattern going on. That's the interlocking pattern, but I don't really mind. From a distance, it looks quite neat. I don't mind that look. The last method is using a crochet hook to crochet your hair into submission. Yes, yes. And this is actually a great way to actually get instant locks. They're still not 100% instant because after you've had your hair crocheted like this, it will still poof out, except it won't have the two-strand pattern that the other one has. So just to give you guys an idea, the two-strand twists will look longer, so your hair will look longer. And so this is the two-strand, this is the crochet, and this is the braid lock. Sorry, I'm using a different thing for my camera. I'm getting confused. But yeah, so you see the braid lock is so much smoother, so much thinner, but eventually the result will be something like this. The difference is time. So if you are impatient and you want to have a dreadlock look quickly, crochet locks are something you can do, but you will have to pay for this. It's not cheap. It takes a long time, and people tend to use a loctician. If you're comfortable crocheting your own hair, go for your life. I never did crochet my own hair. I started off with the two-strand twist, and then I interlock for maintenance. And this is what I've got. So it's, you know, mine is smoother, less fuzzy, but that's because my locks are almost 2 years old and they've become more compact. You know, as time goes on, they compress. So those are the 5 ways that you can start your locks. If you guys have any questions, please leave the questions in the comments down below. If you like the video, please definitely give it a thumbs up. That lets me know what sort of content you guys are into. And if you really enjoyed the video, please share the video because it helps me out as well. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you for all the new subscribers. So happy to have you on board. And also feel free to let me know what sort of video you'd like to see in the comments. Before I leave you, I'm just going to give you a bit of a look at my hair. A close look. I'm going to turn around. So this is what it's doing. It's got a lot of movement and weight now. Not a heck of a lot of body, but that's because I tend to retouch my hair a lot. And I started off with hair about this long. And so now I'm really, really, really happy I stuck with it. Guys, stick with your journey. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.